Welcome back to Linda's Pantry. So today I've got a really delicious recipe for you. It's one of our favorites in the fall. In the cold weather, it's just a comforting dish, and I'm gonna do it with elk backstrap. We're gonna have elk stroganoff, and I'm gonna make homemade pasta for this to go over, and it's gonna be rich and delicious, and I hope it brings you along because it really is an easy recipe to do, and everybody loves it. And nobody ever knows that it's elk. They always think it's bison, or because it's a very lean red meat. So let's get started. And I'll leave all the links in the description box below for you. So you can go check out my Facebook page, go hit like over there, join in on that fun, and maybe go visit my Wild Tree website. All right, guys, let's go make some stroganoff. All right, I'm glad you guys stayed for this because it's gonna be delicious. This is elk stroganoff, but this is backstrap. So it's super tender. It's like filet mignon. And so I've got cremini mushrooms, I've got some Cabernet Sauvignon, herbs de Provence, some thyme, fresh garlic, and look what I did today. I made fresh egg noodle pasta. And so we're gonna have this on fresh pasta this time, just because it's my husband's favorite. So this has been drying here for a couple of hours, and I just rolled it out, made sure it had a good dusting of flour so it doesn't stick to itself. And it's gonna make this dish really, really rustic. The meat has been sitting out so it kind of can come to room temperature. I wanna season it a little bit before I do the flouring, because I'm gonna dredge this in some flour. And I love the smell of herbs de Provence. And really all that is thyme, fennel, basil, savory, and lavender. I like a lot of thyme with beef and mushrooms, so I'm gonna use it throughout the dish. And so I'm gonna put this in a bag with some flour and get that floured up, and we'll go over to the stove and I'll get the mushrooms started in some butter. Okay, so I am ready to go. I've got my mushrooms. I'm gonna put those down and saute them over here. And I put a couple tablespoons of real butter, unsalted, over here. And I'm just gonna get these mushrooms going. I'll put the garlic in with them after they've started to kind of get caramelized. Little salt and pepper. I love pepper in almost everything. Some Himalayan pink salt. This will help draw out some of the moisture. I've also got my little spaghetti cooking pot back there, getting ready for the pasta. Fresh pasta, and we won't use all that pasta tonight, so I will continue to let the rest of it dry, and we'll have it on another occasion. So now this is the meat pan, and I'm gonna go ahead and get my meat that I have dusted in flour. Hold on for this ride, because I really want to see what you guys see. I gotta turn my little camera thing around. So I just dusted it in a bag with flour, and you can tell by when the flour drops and you see it sizzle that your pan is ready, and it's more than ready. You want a high cooking temperature oil for sure. You don't want to use olive oil. That would be awful. Get a healthy alternative. I've got Wild Tree's grapeseed oil down here because it has a high smoke temp of 419 degrees. And some of these pieces, if they didn't get totally coated, it won't matter. Trust me. I've done this recipe without coating it in the beginning, and it comes out delicious as well. This is our family's favorite way to have stroganoff anything. The only thing I haven't tried, I think, I've always done red meat of some sort, and I'm only doing one pan of meat today, so I don't have to worry about doing batches. which is kind of nice. Usually, if you were going to do double of what I'm doing, you would definitely want to do batches. You don't want to crowd your pan, because what will happen, and a lot of you probably already know this, it'll start steaming the meat and boiling instead of browning it. And then you just kind of get this icky consistency. Wash my hands, wipe off my stove, my area. I'm so picky about that. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and put some salt down on the top, because you need to season it. And I'm going to grind some pepper. This grinder does a little finer than what I've got already ground up, so I don't want big chunks of pepper. And we're also going to put that herbes de Provence on the meat. Smells good already. Love it. Okay, and then I'm adding extra thyme into this, but it's going in the mushroom side. Nothing better than mushrooms and thyme. All right, stir up these mushrooms and leave the meat alone until you know it's got a nice crust on it. If you rush this, you've taken all your steps for naught. So, there you go. I'm not ready to add the garlic yet. I want those mushrooms to get about halfway there, and then I'll add the garlic, and that'll keep it from burning. So, okay, as you can see, the meat is brown, the mushrooms are done. They're ready to join in on this party. But what I need to do now, as you can see, I've got a ton of delicious crusty bits on the bottom of this pan. And that, in the culinary world, is called fond. And that's where all the flavor is. Plus, I need to deglaze this pan. I don't need to be scrubbing on it, right? So, we're going to go ahead and deglaze it with some wine. And I've got a cup of a really nice Cabernet Sauvignon that I could have used a little bit more, but I'm like, it's a little pricey, but it makes this dish. First time I did it with this particular wine, I was like, oh boy. Anyway, we're going to want to have a glass with dinner, so that leaves us just enough to have a glass with our meal as well. So you just kind of go around and scrape any bits that are stuck on the bottom. And this is already feeling very smooth on the bottom. My cast iron is very well seasoned. I take excellent care of it. I love cast iron. It's like my favorite because it holds the heat. It really retains the temperature well. And now that I got the heat turned back up, I'm gonna go ahead and transfer the mushrooms in there because they've been turned off. And look at the mushrooms and the garlic. It is caramelized, gorgeous. Oh, I'm so excited. What a treat for dinner. Doesn't that look good? And because we floured the meat, this is gonna go ahead and thicken this up a little bit. And if it doesn't, we'll let it reduce. You wanna cook the alcohol off before you add the sour cream, because the sour cream that I'm adding that right at the end. So I'm gonna move this pan and we'll grab that pasta and get that in there because our water is boiling. So let's get some pasta cooking because it really won't take much longer than what this needs. Ooh, it's already thickening up. Yum. Oh, it smells fantastic. I want to get my parsley in there. I've got a little bit I'm going to reserve for garnish. But you got to have fresh parsley if you're going to have stroganoff. And you want to do this at the end. It's it's to release the essential oils, but you don't want it to cook it to death. So, and look how nice and thick that sauce is already becoming. Let's get this on. This sauce is just perfect. Oh, it's reduced down. It smells heavenly in here. And I'm ready to add sour cream, but I need to cook the pasta. So I'm going to turn that on low. And I'm going to drop my pasta. And I'm going to make sure that my noodles have not stuck to each other, which they haven't. I just want to make sure. We don't want a glob of dough. We want fresh pasta. Yum. Oh, there's nothing better. And I'm not a big pasta fan unless it's fresh. Then I'm like all over that noise because that's delicious. There you go. Come on, get that heat up. All right, so as soon as my pasta is cooked, I'm going to add sour cream to the elk and mushrooms, and we're going to plate this up, and I'll bring you back to show you what it looks like on the plate. And give you. Does that look good? And I've got this rustic, big pasta. It's so cool. I'm really excited about that. And I'm not gonna, I mean, these pieces, I left them really long, so that'd be a huge bite if I did that. So we're not gonna do that. We're gonna take a bite of the elk and a bite of pasta, if we can get that all on one fork here. Maybe not. Let's take a piece of the elk meat first. So tender. Absolutely delicious. And here's some of the pasta with the sauce. The sauce just thickened up. The smell, red wine is in the air. I'm just gonna cut a bite here. I love the grassy, fresh parsley. And who doesn't love a comforting plate of pasta on a cold fall day? Wow. I apologize for that. Kind of. Look at that big old noodle. And the pasta is super tender. So I hope that you go back and look at my homemade pasta video. I just did it. I've done a couple of them, I think, but this one, it's very therapeutic to me to make homemade pasta. You have to run it through the pasta maker a few times. You really have to get the right consistency. So it's just, when done right, it's fabulous. So one more bite of pasta and I'm gonna let you go. I love the tang of the sour cream. If your sauce happens to get too thick, this is what I've done in the past. If you know, your time constraints change and you have to leave it on the stove too long and it dehydrates, you can either add some more wine, beef stock, and or buttermilk, and that will thin it back down and make it delicious. So that being said, I hope if you guys are inspired by this, because I'm always inspired by Stroganoff, I hope you go give me a thumbs up, and if you really like this, go share it on your Facebook page, because everybody loves beef stroganoff. This is just, I used elk instead of beef, but you could use any meat protein and make it a stroganoff. So there you go. I hope I see you next time. As always, guys, God bless.